The Messerschmitt Bf-109, agile, relentless, and unforgiving, survived from the first Blitzkrieg strikes to the Reich's last fuel-starved sorties. And yet, when the Focke-Wulf 190 arrived, more modern, more pilot-friendly, deadlier at lower altitudes, the 109 stayed. But why? To answer, we ride with the pilots who flew it, and the allies who learned both to fear and to beat it. From its maiden flights, the Bf-109 demanded great respect, long before the wheels left the runway. Its narrow track 1.4 metre undercarriage, wheels splayed outward at roughly 25 degrees, made taxiing, takeoff and landing a delicate ballet. Even slight asymmetry or a power surge could swing the nose into a ground loop, and contemporary reports suggest 15 to 20% of all Bf-109s were damaged or destroyed in takeoff and landing incidents. Mechanics reinforced the gear, but pilots still resorted to S-turn taxiing and minimal throttle application to keep the tail wheel loaded. Inside, the cockpit felt like a confined capsule. Semi-reclined seating hugged the fuselage and heavy canopy frames crisscrossed the view, while the long nose blocked forward sight until the tail came up. Misjudge rudder or stick input at the wrong moment, and you risked undercarriage collapse or running off the runway. By contrast, the FW-190's 2.5 metre wide track landing gear and blown-away frame bubble-style canopy offered forgiving ground handling and vastly improved all-round visibility. Its stable platform allowed pilots to taxi and line up on approach with confidence, small but critical advantages that translated directly to combat survivability. Enter Eric Winkle-Brown, the Royal Navy's legendary test pilot. Brown flew captured Bf-109s at Farnborough and praised their automatic leading-edge slats for giving lift at high angles, but warned of brutally unforgiving ground handling and heavy stick forces at speed. Günter Rahl, Germany's third highest scoring ace with 275 victories, put it succinctly. The 109 demanded respect on the ground, but rewarded finesse in the air. Below 6,000 metres, the FW-190A's BMW 801 engine was king, crushing bombers with heavy cannon and outrolling anything it met. Above that, its single-stage supercharger ran out of breath, and by 8,000 metres, the 190 could barely chase a Mustang. The Bf-109's Daimler-Benz DB 605 engine, especially in the G6 AS high-altitude variant with its two-stage supercharger, retained power up to 10,000 metres and climbed aggressively even with full combat load. Pilots flew mixed formations. FW-190s dove on the heavies, drawing fire from the bombers, then peeled off as Bf-109s engaged the escorts at height. Donald Caldwell's Defense of the Reich studies reveal this lethal choreography played out again and again above Berlin and other major German cities. Günter Rahl later wrote, "Altitude was life itself. It let you choose when, where, and how to strike."
It was 12 May 1944. Germany was attacked by 800 B-17 and B-24, covered and escorted by 1,000 fighter planes, Zemkis, both packed from the Harz Mountains down to Stuttgart. And we attacked this mass of airplanes with 75 aircraft, 50 Focke-Wulf into the bombers, and I as a top cover against the fighters.
By summer 1943, the Bf-109 G6 emerged as the Luftwaffe's dedicated bomber killer. Pilots installed two underwing 20mm MG 151/20 cannon pods, each carrying roughly 120 rounds of high-explosive ammunition in Rüstsatz field modification kits. These streamlined aluminium pods, bolted to reinforced mounting points, granted unprecedented firepower, two extra cannon roaring in unison. The pods weighed nearly 275 kilograms fully loaded and added significant drag. Top speed fell by up to 70 kilometers an hour, climb rate dropped noticeably, and roll response slowed. High-speed buffeting and a yawed attitude on asymmetric release demanded pilot attention. In a pinch, the pods could be jettisoned via cockpit switch, but doing so was a last resort over friendly territory. Yet the firepower paid dividends. A single salvo at 300 meters against a B-17 formation could rip off wings or cripple engines, and the bomber crews dubbed the G6 variant the Bundle of Death. USAF ace Robert S. Johnson of the 56th Fighter Group, Zemke's Wolfpacks, recalled P-47 pilots chasing podded 109s and noted they were lethargic in climb and easy to run down once the initial burst was fired, yet catching one at the right moment, guns blazing, was a nightmare in itself. Messerschmitt's engineers answered Allied pressure with a two-phase refinement. The G10, introduced in early 1944, smoothed cowl bulge fairings, fared over wing root fittings, and standardized the Erler canopy for improved downward and rear visibility. Fuel filler ports moved beneath the wings, and crews could toggle between underwing cannon pods or a centerline 30mm Mk108 cannon. A redesigned oil cooler flap system granted finer engine temperature control at higher altitude. By November 1944, the K4 Kurfürst rolled off the line. It combined the G10's aerodynamic tweaks with the DB605D engine, rated at 1800 PS, with MW50 methanol water injection for short burst boosts. Retractable tail wheels and full wheel well covers cut drag, raising top speed to 710 km an hour at 7,500 meters. Production peaked at a few hundred units per month, even as Allied bombing forced parts manufacture into improvised forest workshops and concentration camp satellite factories to keep output alive. Frontline pilots noted incremental gains in climb and zoom performance, but the underlying airframe was aging. Gerhard Barkhorn, the Luftwaffe's second highest scoring ace with 301 victories, remarked, "The K4 was the most refined 109 yet, but it still felt like pushing a tired horse to win a sprint." The 109's automatic leading-edge slats were a refinement, not a turn fighter magic bullet. Hinged at the wing's front, they opened above roughly 16 degrees angle of attack to delay stall and tighten instantaneous turn, but only below about 450 km an hour. Above that speed they could stick or deploy unevenly, risking a sudden wing drop. Pilots learned to hold moderate angles of attack until committing to hard turns, keeping slats closed until the final instant, then trusting them to carry the lift. True to its energy fighter pedigree, Bf-109 doctrine centered on altitude and speed rather than sustained rolling circles. Squadrons drilled climbing to build a 1,000-meter energy reserve, diving in for high-speed attacks, and unleashing brief, concentrated cannon and machine gun salvos before zooming back to altitude to reset. Engagements also settled into distinct altitude bands. Below 4,000 meters, the FW-190's raw firepower ruled, so 109s climbed to between 6,000 and 8,000 meters, the sweet spot for the DB605. Above 10,000 meters, all piston engines faded, and battles devolved into stall line contests, won by pilots most precise at balancing throttle, angle of attack, and slat deployment to nurse airspeed through thin air maneuvers. By 1943, the Bf-109 underpinned the Luftwaffe's fighter arm and Germany's war industry. Fighter production accounted for 47% of all German aircraft output. The 109 alone made up 57% of those fighters. A total of 34,248 Bf-109 airframes were built between 1936 and April 1945, assembled at Regensburg, Augsburg, and Wiener Neustadt. Some components even produced by forced labour at Flossenburg and Gusen concentration camps to evade Allied bombing. Retooling factories, supply chains and maintenance networks for new types such as the TA-152 or FW-190 D9 would have halted fighter throughput for months that Germany could not spare. Instead, the Reich Ministry of Aviation and Oberkommando der Luftwaffe mandated incremental upgrades and standardization quick change kits, keeping the Bf-109 alive in service while sparing valuable tooling, skilled labor, and time. The Bf-109 story did not end in May 1945, as the most produced fighter in history, 34,248 airframes, rolled off the line, and variants served beyond the war in Czechoslovakia, Spain, and even Brazil until the mid-1960s. It launched the careers of Erich Hartmann, 352 victories, Gerhard Barkhorn, 301 victories, and Gunther Rahl, 275 victories, the three highest-scoring fighter aces of all time, whose combined 928 victories were all logged in Bf-109s with Jägerschwader 52 on the Eastern Front. In the end, the Luftwaffe fell not for lack of machines, but for lack of fuel, training, and time. The Bf-109 endured, ever willing, ever able, right to the final horizon.